I just came back from 3 weeks in Eastern Europe, and I'll tell you one thing: like, you can say what you like about Eastern European countries, and they're a little bit corrupt, a bit more dangerous maybe, but at least they all share a similar value system, and because of that, there is still ingrained shame in those cultures, like Romania and Ukraine, where I was hanging out. Women aren't running around acting like sluts for the most part because they still fear their father. They still fear being shamed.
Their father.
They respect their father. That's for damn sure. Like,
I would also say
that comes from a unified cultural set of values that everybody agrees upon.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what else it prompts is investment in that culture. When you have a culture that you're proud of or you're vested in, not only will you avoid the wrong actions to insult that culture, you'll probably invest in it. And I can't emphasize it enough. And John, I've been thinking about this, but God, you go to Walmart and your eyes are getting assaulted by all the fat, ugly people, not just women, but men too. And they're dressed for shit. And then Sterling, you and who's the other guy with the British accent that nobody likes and looks like Daniel Craig? Who is that guy? Troy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
Jesus.
So, I'm kidding. But you guys went to Russia, and it's a different culture. But the girls are fit. You get to look. It's like, oh my God. And even Coach Red Pill. I don't know how much you guys watch him or what side of the fence we're on, but he did a video about the difference between Eastern European women and Western women. And he's talking about how there is no welfare state, and by society, by force, they have to stay in shape and find a guy if they like to have kids.
I think we used to have culture in the U.S. I think we had a culture. We had a work hard, you achieve, you build up, and we didn't have this kind of slut culture before. Because like the people coming in, Latin Americans, people from other places, they're not, that type of leftist type mentality. But like in the last 30 years or so, since like the 70s, a lot of our problems I think started kind of in the 70s.
Do you guys remember
that stuff started changing? We started losing that identity of like anybody can work hard and achieve that. Like, we had family units, the African American families got broken up. We incentivized single motherhood and rewarded bad decisions, bad behavior by a lot of people, and putting a lot of people into debt. So I think we've lost a lot of what the American culture was.
Well, and I think it's because America and the West in general adopted this attitude of every culture is equal and everybody's like life experience is equally valid. That's the problem that we adopted. Like,
and what kind of values are those, Sterling? Are those masculine values or feminine values?
They're very
honor killings.
But it's this idea that like, oh, you could be a total fuck up, and we're still gonna like accept you and tell you that you're just as valuable. No judgment, no shame, right? And that's obviously not worked because of where we're at.
It's gonna get worse too. What it all boils down to is I'm surprised the money man didn't speak up. Not Aaron, he has no money. Rich, that if you pay attention to what really this culture has become, the culture has been molded by corporations. That's all it's been down to. Feminism is not about empowering women. Anytime you look at some sort of feminist organization, it is always tied back to extracting money or votes out of women, period. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Look at the organic Black Lives Matter movement, right? It was really about black people getting killed by police unfairly, incarcerated unfairly, right? Who came in? The feminists, the feminists and the alphabet mafia came in and were like, hey, like Black Lives Matter. Don't forget to put on this rainbow shit. And, that they made it political. Looking at all of the things that are happening now in the culture, right? It's more profitable to split men and women up. You can tax them both equally. You can have one person paying rent here and one person paying rent over there, two different electricity bills. It's just easier to divide and conquer. And the basis of life is for men and women to be together, support each other, have children, and work together in harmony. And we've strayed away from that in America. And that's why it's like, if you look at America, like everybody's just like this, it's this corporate consumerism culture and everybody's like miserable. Like people are happy over in Japan where I'm at. Like when I was walking around America, I just see like just miserable people. Like people are casually miserable.
Well, that's the other title that you'll see if you do the search is modern women are miserable today and unhappy and that sort of stuff.
That I enjoy.
Yeah, you guys, let me ask a question to the panel because we have 3 people who aren't Americans. But did you guys in the late 80s and early 90s have it where people made fun of Leave It to Beaver? You guys all know the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sterling, you never heard? Rich, you never heard of Leave It to Beaver?
No, I watched Leave It to Beaver when I was a kid.
Okay, all right. So, and I remember it was very fashionable. Like, oh, what you think on June? Oh, look how square they are. And here's like this perfectly functional, albeit fictional, nuclear family. And I just remember them making so much fun, especially what do you think of June Cleaver? And when it's like, no, but what's wrong with that? And now, how many girls would kill to have a Ward Cleaver? Upper middle income, good looking guy, shows up on time, raises his kids. They'd kill to have a Ward Cleaver today.
I'll tell you what that was replaced with because the next sitcom that came after that became even more popular was the Brady Bunch, which basically facilitated cuckoldry, right? Blend those 2 families together, have 17 children live in the same freaking house, and then make a show out of it. And we'll call this a new normal. And that of course, towed the line with I don't need no man, or if this marriage ain't working out, I can just get divorced and we'll just blend families with some new guy who's potentially going to be better off than what I had. The guy's
pulling up money to have he's got 3 sons and a live-in maid. Yeah, and he decides to marry somebody with 3 kids.
Yep. And then now what do you have? You have that new show on Netflix, Sex Life, right? Which is hilarious if you just look at you have this chick who's been ran through in her past, right? So she's been completely ran through post-wall. Somehow she's able to score like the most perfect, good-looking husband guy. He has money, he's good-looking, he's shredded, whatever. And she decides, oh, but I just can't forget like this Chad that was in my past. So I'm going to ruin my family to go get dick down. And like that show, if you just so you know, is blowing up on Netflix right now. It is massively popular. And and people are dumb. So you watch that kind of stuff, they're gonna run that past their brain, and that they're gonna recreate that stuff. I mean, what you consume is what you become. And a big part of American culture, like I'm sorry, but America has become way more ratchet and ghetto lately too. It's just disgusting because you're looking at people. Like I hate Cardi B, right? I think Cardi B, Cardi B is supposed to be. She's supposed to be a role model. She's a former stripper that used to drug men and rob them. Do you understand that?
Bill Cosby.
If we used to if any of us on this panel drugged women and robbed them, all of us would be crucified. But this woman celebrated, and she celebrated because that's what the media wants, and it makes money.
I noticed they had her as a cameo in Fast 9.
Why would we even go see that movie?
Great movie, actually. It's probably one of the last masculine male leads out there that you can watch from Hollywood.
They call that series in Japan. You know what they call that series? Fast and Furious.
What?
Call it Wild Speed. It's a Wild Speed 9.
That actually is a really good name. I like that.